Hi there Star Wars collectors, welcome to another Bossk's Bounty video, and in this video myself and little Bossk are going to be going through our top 5 vintage Star Wars figures. So these are the Kenner figures from back in the late 70s and early 80s. My son is now obsessed with these figures and he keeps asking me for all of mine, but he does have a few in his own collection and he desperately wanted to do a top 5 vintage Star Wars figures video, and I'm absolutely down with that. I do know a few other guys in the community have done their top 5 as well, so I wanted to do this video for a while anyway. So we are going to go with our top 5 vintage Star Wars figures, and I'm going to go first. But before that, I couldn't get down to 5. I found it incredibly difficult just to pick 5, so I am going to have a couple of honourable mentions. And the honourable mentions for me are Luke Skywalker in Stormtrooper outfit. This was one of the sort of later figures that I got when I was a kid. It came out in 1984, I believe. So that would have made me 8 or 9 years old. So, you know, another couple of years and I was coming to the end of sort of my playing with Star Wars toys. So I got a lot of use out of the Luke Skywalker Stormtrooper. I loved all the last 17 figures. And it just blew my mind having a Stormtrooper that was Luke Skywalker. I thought that was awesome. Obviously you could replay the film and everything. My second honourable mention before we get into the top 5s is Han Bespin, or Han Bespin, whichever way you want to pronounce it. This was always the best Han Solo figure for me, and it got a lot of playtime. Not obviously this exact one, because this is a fairly mint condition one these days. But the one I had with a kid got played with a lot. So such a great figure. Really does look like the guy from the film. So yeah, that's just my other honourable mention. So on to our top 5. And in 5th place for me, I've chosen Boba Fett. Now, this is such a great figure, even from back in the day. Loads of detail on him, and I'm guessing he's probably a lot of people's number 1, but he doesn't quite hit number 1 for me. But there's no doubting that it is a great figure. Really detailed for those times. Lovely paintwork and what have you. And of course, he's such a cool character, especially now he's back, spoiler alert, in the Mandalorian. So, yeah, in 5th place for me is Boba Fett. And now we're going to find out who's in 5th place for Little Bossk.
5th place for me is the Gomorian Guard.
And why do you like the Gomorian Guard?
Because he looks like a pig that's green.
Okay, and you like playing with that figure, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, he is pretty cool. It's a good figure. Plenty of detail on him. So he's in your 5th place, yeah?
Yes.
Okay. In 4th place for me of the vintage Star Wars figures is the Scout Trooper, or Biker Scout. Now, this is one of my favourites. It's got a lot of memories for me, this one. I actually bought one of these, as well as the Luke Skywalker Jedi Knight, on the way back from watching Return of the Jedi in 1983. Walking home with my brother, we stopped off at Gamley's. I think my brother picked up the Scout Trooper and I picked up Luke Jedi, but we're, all the way home we were playing with these figures. And it's just a cool Stormtrooper in the woods. Yeah. Just a brilliant figure, and again, I had 2 or 3 of these in the end, and they got a lot of play value, of course, with the speeder bike and everything as well. So he's in 4th place for me. Little Bossk, who's in 4th place for you?
C-3PO.
C-3PO, and which C-3PO is that?
The breakable arms one.
The one with the removable limbs. Okay, and why do you like that figure?
Because you can break him up and you can put him in Chewie's satchel.
Right, okay, yeah. I remember playing with that a lot when I was a kid. I thought that was awesome. You can reenact that from the film where he gets dismantled on the Cloud City by the Ugnaughts, or blown up by the Stormtroopers maybe, and then, they find him in the Ugnaughts. And yeah, it's a cool figure. All right, so that's your number 4, yeah?
Yes.
Okay, in 3rd place for me in my favourite vintage Star Wars figures is Yoda. And the reason I like this figure so much is, well, it's a cool figure. You get lots of accessories with him. You get the snake and the cane. And I think this figure still holds up today. It looked, it's a great sculpt of Yoda. There's no getting away from it is still really, really good. And obviously it's, you know, it's Master Yoda. What is there not to like? Great figure still. And, you know, again, one of my favourites from back in the day. All right then, little Bossk, who is in third place for you? Who's your third favourite vintage Star Wars figure?
Bossk.
Bossk. Excellent figure. And why is he your third favourite?
Because I like that he looks like a lizard.
All right. And what else?
I like that he's a bounty hunter like Boba Fett.
Yeah. Yeah, he is very, very cool. And a great looking figure. Oh, don't get him too close to the camera. There you go, so everyone can see him. Awesome figure. I do agree with you. So that's he's in third place, yeah?
Yes.
Excellent, okay. And in second place for me, for my second favourite vintage Star Wars figure, it is Bossk. Now, many of you might have thought that I might have this guy in first place, but he's my number one baddie for sure. He was the guy that I always used to play Star Wars with. That he would always be the baddie chasing after the goodies, and I don't know, there was just something menacing about him. Of course, he is a bounty hunter, doesn't say much in the films, if anything at all, and I don't know, it's just a cool figure. He looked really good in his little flight suit and everything, and as my son said, he's a cool looking lizard, I guess. He's actually called a Trandoshan. That's his race. But yeah, back in the day when I was little, this guy was one of my favourite figures, and as I say, he was always the bad guy whenever we played Star Wars. So, all right then, little Bossk, who is in second place for you of your all-time favourite vintage Star Wars figures?
Second place for me is Chewie.
Chewie, can't go wrong with Chewie. And why do you like Chewie so much?
Because he's got the fur prints on him.
Right, you like the way they've sculpted in the fur.
Yeah.
Yeah, he looks good, doesn't he?
Yeah.
I don't think you can go wrong with a Chewie, and I guess you use the satchel thing with C-3PO. That's probably why those two are in. Is that the reason why those two are in your top 5?
Yes.
Right, okay. Yeah, he's a great figure. He's a classic, isn't he? Everyone loves Chewie.
Uh-huh.
I think Chewie is actually one of my favourite characters in that whole of Star Wars. I think when The Phantom Menace came out in, 1999 or whatever it was, I really felt that it missed Chewie. You know, a Star Wars film without Chewie, it was just a bit weird for me. So, okay then, so that's Chewie. So then, my number one vintage Star Wars figure, my favourite, is Bespin Luke. Now, this was a great figure, and it still is a great figure, and it was definitely the Luke Skywalker that I always sort of played with the most when I was little. He was being chased down by Bossk, and him and Bespin Han were always on the Falcon together, and it's just a great figure. I could have chosen the Jedi Luke because, again, Jedi Luke does hold a lot of nostalgia for me. Return of the Jedi was the first film that I saw in the cinemas, and don't get me wrong, it is a great figure with the green lightsaber and what have you. But I only wanted one Luke Skywalker in my top 5 list, and therefore it just has to be Bespin Luke. It's just an absolute all-time classic, and again still holds up today. Really good looking figure. So he is my number one vintage Star Wars figure. All right then, little Bossk, who is your number one vintage Star Wars figure?
Boba Fett.
Boba Fett. How did I guess? And why is Boba Fett your favourite vintage Star Wars figure?
Because he came out in The Mandalorian.
Right, okay. So because he's in The Mandalorian, that's why you like this character and that figure.
Yeah.
Right, okay. And what else do you like about him?
I like that he includes the jetpack on him.
Yeah, with the rocket.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Great figure. You're not alone, little Bossk. A lot of people out there will have Boba Fett as their favourite vintage Star Wars figure. There's no doubt he is a great figure. He is in my top 5, but he just doesn't hit number 1 spot for me. But I can see why you like him, of course. All right then, guys. So that is myself and little Bosk's top 5 vintage Star Wars figures. This was my number 1. This was little Bosk's number 1. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Let me know which is your favourite vintage Star Wars figure or your top 5. Leave them in the comments below. Thank you very much for watching, and we shall see you on the next one.